Hey, what's up everyone? Half Tilt with another video. Today, I want to take some time to go over the progression systems in Ashes of Creation because there are a lot of them. As always, if you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications to be alerted when new weekly videos go live. Now, let's get into it. So there are a lot of progression systems, both vertical and horizontal, within Ashes of Creation, many of which we only have a little info on due to the game being in Alpha 1 currently, but we will still mention them here. Alright, so first up, we've got, you guessed it, leveling. It is said that leveling won't follow a traditional linear path, as experience will be gained through a variety of activities including PvE, PvP, exploration, gathering, processing, crafting, events, and quests. That's a lot of ways to gain experience to level up your character. Leveling in Ashes is designed to be a meaningful and enjoyable part of the game. And upon hitting the max level of 50, which is estimated to take around 45 days if you were to play about 4 to 6 hours a day, there won't be a huge change to how you play and what you do. To me, that is really important and is showcased a little bit in both the class preview videos that we've had for the cleric, mage, and tank so far, as well as the level 10 dual ancient raid battle that is available, even though, Steven used GM hacks on that. Here's a quote from Sarah Flanagan. "We want the game to be a living game, which means that all content should be relevant at all times. I'd say that we try to make as little distinction between the leveling up experience and the endgame experience as possible. The whole journey is important to us in order to maximize the fun people have during different stages of the game." End quote. No matter what stage of the game you're at, no matter what level you are, you will have meaningful and engaging gameplay always happening. Guys, it's about the journey, not the destination. And I am so excited for that. There will not be repetitive quests and grindiness. Is that even a word? In Ashes, nor will we see AFK leveling. I mean, after all, this is a game and it is meant to be played, right? Moving on from leveling, one of the next natural progression systems we typically see, and what I would think of, is class progression. When I think of class progression, I think about earning skill or talent points by leveling up that I can then spend on new skills or skill enhancements, whether they are passive or active abilities. While Ashes has that, it's really just the tip, and when is the tip ever truly enough? Upon hitting level 25, you will have the ability to choose a secondary archetype to augment your primary archetype that will combine to become your class. For example, a fighter primary archetype combined with a mage secondary archetype creates the Spell Sword class. This gives the fighter the ability to augment their active abilities with the mage school. Take the fighter's rush ability, augmented with the mage's escape ability, to take the dash component of rush and replace it with an instant teleport. It'll still do the damage upon reaching its destination, but now there's no travel time. It just happens instantly like a mage's teleport. Sounds pretty powerful. Here's a quote from Steven Sharif. "Each augmentation has a level requirement and number of skill points required to activate it. There's going to be a certain threshold at which you can no longer augment your active abilities based on the decisions you've augmented previous abilities. So you'll have to pick and choose which ones you want to apply the augments towards, and certain augments will have more expense required on the skill point side." End quote. The amount of different class builds truly available is growing far bigger than just 64, which is already a pretty large number. Now, a lot of those are just different flavors of a main character, but there's still a lot of different flavors, a lot of different playstyles there. As for the skill points mentioned earlier, there will be 3 trees you can spend these in: passive, active, and your weapon. While you won't be able to max all skills in a single tree, let alone all 3, you do have the choice of collecting either many abilities at a lower unskilled rank versus selecting a few abilities to master and specialize in. The bottom line is, when it comes to class progression, guys, there is a ton of choice and variations available to us as the player for both vertical and horizontal progression. Will you choose to be a jack of all trades, or will you be a master in just a few abilities? As the famous Bruce Lee once said, "I fear not the man who practices 10,000 kicks once, but I do fear the man who practices one kick 10,000 times." So, gear progression. One of the skill trees available to the player will be the weapon skill tree, as we just mentioned. Progressing into this tree will allow players to grant effects such as bleeds to their weapon swings, while applying gear enhancements can add elemental or energy damage types. Now, does this mean a bleed effect combined with a fire element enhancement will cause the wound to be cauterized and no longer bleed? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait to see, but no doubt some amazing combinations will be available. In addition to all of that, we also have enchanting, and there are 2 flavors of that as well: vertical and horizontal. Vertical enchantments provide power progression for crafted items in the form of more damage, damage mitigation, added effects, or bonuses. There is an element of risk associated with enchanting, which will be RNG based, and that is over-enchanting items beyond a certain safe window may cause the item to decay, or worse, be destroyed. But fear not! This system is subject to testing still. Just as a side note on gear progression as well, guys, weapon proficiency is not planned for Ashes of Creation. So don't worry about picking up a new weapon type and standing naked outside of town killing critters for hours and hours on end just to level up your weapon skill. That will not be necessary. It might be a punishment for your guild if you do something you shouldn't do, but it's not going to be a requirement to better your character. All right, PvP progression. PvP will not be a means to gearing your character. I'll say that one more time. PvP will not be a means to gear your character. Progression in PvP, though, will be measured over 6-month seasons tied to the various PvP systems such as caravans, sieges, arenas, and guild wars. And your cumulative score for all of that at the end of each season may unlock gear enhancement rewards, achievement ranks and titles, purchasing power, currency, position on leaderboards, or a ranking on the arena ladder, if that was one of the places you were competing. But Till, you said that you won't be able to gear up your character in PvP. So what are these enhancements you speak of? Well, I'm glad you asked, Half. PvP enhancement rewards come in the form of enchantment stones that can be socketed into your gear and grant temporary PvP focus benefits, and you will have to maintain a level of PvP performance to keep these enchantments, or poof, they're gone. Alright, we got a fun one here, guys. There will be combat pets in Ashes of Creation. You will be able to level your pets up and gear them out in the most powerful sweaters and booties gold can buy. These pets will also incorporate some of their owner's power, but in a more horizontal manner. We don't have too much more information on pet progression at this time, so we're gonna leave it with that. Up next, we're gonna talk a little bit about artisan progression. Now, we could go into this really deep into the crafting system, into the artisan system, you guys. Not the intention of this video, so we're gonna focus on progression as a overview here. If we want to do more in-depth stuff on crafting, well, we're probably gonna wait until we get closer into Alpha 2 when the artisan system comes online and we get a little bit more information than what we've already talked about in previous videos and streams. The artisan system in Ashes of Creation promises to be something both amazing and relevant in the forever of late game, which in itself is very exciting. How many games have you guys played where the crafting system really trails off late game because it just cannot make gear that competes with raid drops? Now, there are 3 paths of artisanship, but you can only master one of these, be it gathering, processing, or crafting. There are different professions available within these trees, and you can master each given enough time and resources. Although I believe crafting will be limited, you won't be able to master every single profession in crafting because it does cover quite a few. That is still being, final number is still being settled on. You will be able to play around in each path at a more novice level before choosing which you wish to dedicate yourself to. So you get to kind of dabble, play around with different things, see how systems work, choose what you like, and that's your focus. Progression within your chosen path is based on experience acquired from both repetitive tasks and achieving benchmarks with a given branch. When you do finally hit that master status in your profession or pathway, you may earn titles, get access to new items, receive bargains, and obtain quests. These quests are likely to provide artisan-related tools such as materials to make the highest quality gathering tools, extremely rare blueprints to construct the best processing buildings, or legendary recipes to craft the most coveted and insanely difficult items to make. Religion. As a player in the world of Vera, you will have the option of choosing to follow a certain religion. By completing quests within your chosen religion, you will be able to rank up. Ranking up with any given religion can unlock unique augments and titles, but changing religions will cause you to lose all progress in your previous one. This is another one of those progression systems that we don't have too much information on yet. We will wait till we get a little bit more information on the religion system as a whole and the religions that are available before we do any type of video dedicated to this. I'm really excited for this one, you guys. Mariner classes. Mariner classes contain different skill trees, very similar to the artisan classes, and as you earn experience in the different skills, you get better at them. Some of the classes we can expect to see are gunnery, piloting, navigation, boat repair, ship components, defensive skills, and utility-based skills. Now, it will be largely up to you as a player how you choose to dedicate your skill points and how you choose to play and evolve your abilities on deck or below. Next up, we're gonna talk about node progression. This could be a video in and of itself. In fact, many of my fellow Ashes of Creation content creators have videos explaining the node system in their own ways. But if you wish to hear my in-depth spin on it, let me know down in the comments below and I can make that happen. That said, let's highlight the node system that is shaping up to be one of my absolute favorite aspects of the game. The world of Vera is split up into 118 unique locations divided by invisible borders. 15 of these locations are divided and dedicated to the 5 castles located around the world. The remaining 103 locations, or nodes, can be developed by the player base over large-scale efforts from their original stage 0 called the Wilderness, basically what you're going to see when you first walk through the Divine Gateway when we zone into the game for the very first time, or when you go into an uninhabited area of the world. All the way up, over many weeks of effort, to stage 6, the Metropolis. At each stage of growth, many dynamic changes occur in the level node and its surrounding area, including border growth, which absorbs other nodes within those expanding borders into its hierarchy. Unique buildings based on the node type, of which there are 4, military, economic, scientific, and divine, and even player housing. Node progression happens through experience from killing monsters in and around the node, questing, gathering, processing, crafting. You will also gain a certain portion of experience from the nodes that you have absorbed into your hierarchy called vassal nodes, if they overshoot their limit for the day or the week. So node progression is a large-scale group effort and will take time. The idea here is players pick an area of the world where they want to play their game, where they want to develop a node. They develop that node into something very large, up to the metropolis stage over a long period of time. In developing the node, the area in and around the node changes, dungeons unlock, world bosses spawn, the environment changes, things happen, and then you can start to quest and acquire some of the rare lore and items and relics and legendary things all in around there. But you know what? Maybe somebody in a node nearby wants to level that one instead, so they decide to come siege your node and destroy it, so it goes back down to zero, or stage 0 of the wilderness, and then they can level up their node and unlock stuff in that area. And that's the constant evolution of the game. That is node progression, and it is never going to stop in Ashes of Creation. That is why there is essentially no end game. But if you guys want to hear more in-depth detail on the node system, let me know and I'll do a separate video. Moving on, we have guild progression. Guild progression can happen through several systems, including quests, nodes, social organizations, crafting certain items, and events. I'm sure there will be other more combat-focused methods as well, but we will have to wait and see. Advancing your guild will unlock guild halls at a certain stage and grant skill points that can be used in the guild skill tree to unlock or enhance passive skills, augments, or membership count. That's right, there will be a cap on guild size, but you can choose to allocate guild skill points to recruit more people at the sacrifice of having more or stronger passives and augments. However, it should be noted there is also a guild alliance system that can be unlocked via completing a quest that can see up to 4 guilds in alliance with each other. This may be a way of keeping your skill points for passives and augments while still achieving the membership numbers that you're aiming for. It is yet to be determined if these skill points will be resettable, by the way. Social organizations. There are 3 of them that you can choose from, including the Scholars Academy, the Thieves Guild, and the Traders Company. While not necessary to join one, progressing within the org is done by completing tasks and quests, and ranking up may unlock more quest lines. Quests could be cooperative or adversarial depending on node relations, and could include sabotage, espionage, and intrigue. So for all you Jason Bourne fans out there, this could be a lot of fun. Advancing within a social org can unlock augments, titles, access to special shops, and abilities usable during node sieges and other events. Not to mention, it could just add a really cool identity that you wish to have associated with your character. A moment ago, we talked a little bit about guild alliances. Now, there is an alliance progression system kind of planned for Ashes. We don't have a ton of information on this one yet. We may see progression pathways within any number of alliances, including the guild alliances, also siege alliances, or node and political alliances. So stay tuned, as we never know what kind of leaks Steven or Intrepid Studios has coming next. We might get something out of nowhere. Freehold progression. Now, I know freeholds are something that a lot of people are very excited about, myself included. So many people want taverns on their freeholds. I don't know what I'm going to do with mine yet. What are you guys going to do with your freeholds? I'm really curious. Let's get a community poll going on that one, consensus. What is everybody going to do? Freehold buildings can be leveled up based on the length of time and productivity of the establishment, which may unlock new bonuses, abilities, and capabilities. One example of this are the taverns, which players can place on their freehold and run as their very own business. The longer the tavern is in business, and the more adventurers you serve, the quicker your tavern will level up, offering more quests, more cooking recipes, and meals that grant better buffs, or maybe longer lasting buffs, or you get a longer proximity to your buff. Leveling up your freehold will not expand its size the overall footprint of your freehold is a static amount and will not change either through your freehold progression or through the node progression. All right, lastly, guys, we have the monster coin system. So monster coins are rare drops in the game, and they allow you to compete in monster events as one of the monsters. Now, these monster events can be triggered by node advancement, killing a boss or a rare monster in the world, different types of environmental impacts. Now, in Ashes of Creation, a large portion of world events revolve around the environment reacting to the player. This means that as players are exploring the world and developing civilization around them, the environment is responding to this encroachment by spawning dynamic events and creatures to attack those developing cities. These events occur in 3 different types: the Legion level, the Elite level, and the Epic level. So as nodes advance, so do the monsters. There will be tiers of events which determine the caliber of the monsters, and the tier of the monster coin you use will determine how powerful your monster is. The more you compete in these events, the more you will level your monster skills. Well, folks, that's all the progression systems I have to go over at this time. I could have gone into a lot more detail on many of these systems, but in the interest of not making this video even longer than it already is, I kept it a little bit more focused on an overview of the progression elements. If there are any systems I covered here that you wish to know more about, let me know in the comments and I would be happy to do a video on that with the information we have available at that time, of course. Thank you all so much for watching, and please let me know what progression system you are most looking forward to in Ashes. For me, it's definitely the node system, but you know, the artisan system, the mariner classes, those aren't too far behind, if I'm being honest, because they just sound so in-depth and unique. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you all in the next one. Take care.